I'm back, and today we're doing French country decor. Keep watching. I'm Brandy. This is Making It My Own DIYs. The first is framed toile. I'm going to be using a chippy brush and, of course, other brushes. I'm going to use a gold paint. This is pure gold. Here's this beautiful piece that I got from the thrift store. Y'all, it is country and farm, just absolutely beautiful. Look at this beautiful blue and how it pops on that yellow background. Love it. I'm going to use a 16 by 20 canvas, only one. Fits in this frame beautifully. And then here's the frame I'm going to use. This was thrifted. It is white, very pretty as it is. But I know that we can make it look a little more rich if we paint it. This is the original cost. Yikes. All right, so I'm going to take that pure gold. I'm going to put it down on a little piece of paper. And if you have those little paint pans or whatever, you can certainly use that. I just like to be able to use the same space to load up my paintbrush and then pat it off. You know, I do it in a variety of ways. It just depends on how the mood hits me. Now, when I start putting this on here, this is not a chalk paint that is underneath it. It's almost like a satin finish, so it's not going to soak into it. It's not going to grab this gold. I'm going to put one coat on, just kind of smear it around, and then the next coat that I put on here after it's dried thoroughly, I'm going to pounce it on with this brush. This is going to be a little bit more of a stippled-like look, and we're going to let it dry thoroughly. So while that is drying, we're going to grab that fabric, and I'm going to decide which print or which little scenery we want to use. And this one in particular is going to fit really well on this backing. So this is the one we're going to use, and I'm just going to cut out the square or the rectangle so that it overlaps about an inch around the frame, so we have enough room to tuck it, because we won't be decoupaging. We're just going to glue it on the back. The beauty of this is you could always take this off and use this fabric for something else if you wanted to. I have had folks ask me before about recycling their pieces, so that's one way that you could definitely recycle. All right, so apparently while I was sick, my camera got sick and caught it from me. And it's doing weird things in this video, so just bear with me and the camera. She's usually a good girl, but today she's not feeling it. So I'm going to use hot glue, and I'm just going to press this down over the back. And when I flipped it over, I made sure to hold my sides so that it wouldn't shift and get out of position. I'm going to do one side across from the other side, and then I'll do the other two sides across from each other. This way I don't warp the print that's on there. Now, this is how lately I have been folding my pieces to get a nice corner. You could always cut this if you don't like the bulkiness of it, but the bulkiness is not going to be a problem. This is going to be in a frame, so it is not going to be a problem. It actually works out that it is helpful in the end, and you'll see that. And then after I get my corners, I'm just going to go ahead and start on that bottom and press that all up. Y'all be sure you protect your fingers, right? If you have limited time when you are crafting, you definitely don't want to have to stop working because of an injury. All right, now I'm going to take another shade of gold. This is a brushed gold. It is darker than what is on there. See the difference? And we're going to put this on the top. This is going to age this enough for me, okay? And you'll see the difference it makes. Now, I really like the idea of using the chippy brush because it has a bunch of little hairs that go all over the place, and it can get down in all of those little detailed, deeper areas in these projects. So I'm just going to move the brush from side to side and, back and forth until I get that paint laid on there like I like it. And I really do like this. It's different. It's not like a solid piece. You could always make it easier to just go and get you some spray paint, right? Gold spray paint, just spray on one layer. But the dimension of it, look at the difference between the sides and where we've been working. I just really like this. I think this is very pretty. And you want to continue around the entire frame, focusing, of course, on your detailed areas till it's dry. All right, so now we're going to flip it over. And for the farmhouse part of it or for the country part of it, you could always leave your frame white, but I like to do different things, and I like to include everybody on this channel, and everybody has different tastes. So I encourage you to do it your own way, always. and make it your own. But you can definitely do the gold if you like the gold. I put this little pieces of wood just here and there. These are just little, almost like tiles, but you can cut popsicle sticks to hold the back in place. If it's against a wall, nobody's going to see the back, but if you need to cover it with some craft paper and nobody will know. I think this is very pretty. It's given a little bit of a pinkish cast for some reason, but when I show you it on our little setup, here shortly, you'll see that it is gold. I had a pink shirt on, so it was looking kind of pink. So here it is, and you can see here that it is actually gold. Metallics kind of reflect what's around it. And this is how it will actually look. Now you can use whatever type of hanger you want to on your pieces. If you're enjoying this video so far and this craft, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. We do as budget friendly as possible using, thrifted pieces and inexpensive pieces. I like to give you lots of options and of course tons of encouragement along the way, because we all possess a little bit of that crafty spirit. We just have to exercise, right? We just have to practice until we get confident. Check out my videos on Mondays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. See you in the comments. The morning glory wreath is going to be our next. This ribbon was thrifted. I thought it was so pretty. I love that lattice look. This is a thrifted piece too. This is like a denim, and it has wire. And then this one I got on clearance. It is not wired. These are some pieces that I already have used in other projects. I'm going to use them again. And these morning glories are actually individual picks that have been twisted together, and they were given to me by a group of ladies who didn't need them anymore. This is a wreath that I'm going to repurpose. You can see the size here. I'm going to cut off the original hanger because I won't need that. And then because this is already in a beautiful swag piece here, I'm just going to take advantage of that. That work is already done for me. So thank you, ladies. And I'm going to put this down on my wreath. Once I get the position right, and I love the idea of morning glories kind of hanging down, and I'll explain that to you in a little bit. Good memories. Then I'm going to go ahead and wire them down. And this is just some green wire. And I'm going to take this around the back on this thick piece and twist it around. Okay, so morning glories. When I lived in Louisiana, we had a fence between the side of our house and the neighbor's house. And morning glories, just out of the blue, started growing between our yards on the fence and growing all over the top of the fence on my yard. And they were so beautiful. And even on the days when it was so hot and I did not want to go outside and mow the yard, if I got out there and I saw those beautiful blue and yellow morning glories, they just really gave me the energy and the pickup and the hello, good morning to go ahead and get my work done, because it's always rewarding, right? It may be hot and hard work to do yard work, but my goodness, it is so rewarding once you get it done. Y'all have got to check out the Crafty Cruise getaway information I have in the description box. It's really more than just crafting. It's getting to know other people who are like-minded. It's getting to know people, that are there all with the same purpose, ready to have fun, ready to get to know each other. And we really formed some lasting friendships from that cruise. So I hope that y'all can come and join us next year in 2025. It is worth the money. It is definitely, you just got to go. And I would love to meet some of y'all. I just really honestly love y'all so much and the support that you give me. And I would just love to personally give you a hug, honestly. All right, so now that we have several pieces on there so that nothing falls off, I'm just going to start to arrange these. Now, these are not on wire, the individual heads of the flowers. They just kind of flop around a little bit. So I'm okay with that. But in areas where it looks like it's not full enough, I'm just going to go in with some of the extra pieces because there are more. This came with several pieces that were about the same size, that I am going to use those little extra pieces to go in there and just sort of fill it out with a little hot glue. My preference, I'm pretty sure you can get morning glory picks at Dollar Tree because I think that's where these came from. Judging by the greenery on them, I think that's where they came from. Okay, so we're going to take these 3 pieces and I'm going to kind of fluff them out just a little bit, and then I'm going to space them out in this wreath. I love using a vine wreath because they're also easy to recycle into other things. You can use very little amount of glue. You can use wires, pipe cleaners, stuff like that to hold things in place, and then you can take it all off when you're done with the season. Perhaps this is your summer wreath on your door. You don't want to use it again. You can use it for fall, take the pieces off, save them for next year if you want, or donate them, and then next year you can get something fresh. All right, so now I'm going to take these pieces and I'm just going to put them in and they're kind of flyaway, so you can kind of tuck them around other pieces. I realize, y'all, that I'm still saying and interrupting the way I'm speaking. It's because I'm still kind of getting over it, okay? I'm still trying to get over being sick. Oh, and by the way, thank you to all of you who wished me well wishes, feel better, and happy healing and recovery and all those positive vibes that y'all sent and your prayers. It means a lot to me. I am feeling better finally. My energy is back up finally. So the day that I took off, I missed you dearly, but I needed it. I really did need it, and I'm feeling much better today. But I am still kind of swallowing and fighting back a cough, so work with me. Work with me. Okay, so I've got those 3 pieces in there. Now I'm going to make a bow on here. If you don't like a bow, you certainly don't have to, but I had to use this lattice ribbon in a project. Absolutely had to do it. And I love the happy colors of like a denim blue and the bright yellow and the white. They just remind me of those flowers. And yes, they match what we have going on in the beautiful toile print that we did, right? So not all of these pieces are toile, but they are definitely all in the style, I believe, my interpretation anyway, of like a French country or French farmhouse, whatever way you want to look at it. All right, so now I'm going to cut it off. I want my tails to be long because I am going to be needing to trim some once I get the piece on. Now I'm going to take this other piece. This is like a papery pipe. What do you call it? Taffeta? Taffeta? I don't know. But the fabric is not like a, you know what I'm getting at. And I'm sure it's on the spool down there and I didn't look before the voiceover. So, you know. But I've used this before in another project, and it is stout enough that it will hold its shape, but you can't get the loops too big or it becomes floppy. So I'm taking these down. So this is 6-inch loops that we have on the bottom, 2 of the blue, 2 on each side. Now I'm going to do 5-inch loops with the yellow, 2 on each side. Again, leaving my tails long. I think I've got about 14-inch tails on each side, if I had to just kind of eyeball it, because you know the numbers. We'll cut that off, and then I'm going to speed it up just a little bit for the lattice piece because I think y'all get the idea now. These are 4-inch loops, though, so we went from 6 to 5 to 4. And we're going to do 2 on each side. That's right, 2 on each side. This is an easy bow. All we're really doing is just repeating the process and going down to make each bow on top a little bit smaller than the one under it, okay? Easy, y'all can do this. I made my own bow maker tool. I have a video to show you how to do that. If you would like to do that, I can certainly put the link in the description box for you. All right, now I'm going to take it off, grab my wire, and this is like a floral wire that I'm using, but you can use a pipe cleaner, whatever you want to use. I like the idea of using this one because I'll be able to attach it down to the wreath with the same piece. It's long, and it's like a pre-cut type of thing. So I'm going to twist it around here, and then I'll lay it down once I get it nice and tight. And you really have to make it rather tight so when you're fluffing your bows and you're arranging, you don't pull anything out of your stack of bows. So the bottom is blue. Just kind of work on that one first, and then kind of work on the yellow next, and then the white. Now, with a bow like this, if you would like to cut the tails that are on the smaller bows at shorter lengths and have them sticking up on the inside of the bow, that's a very pretty option. But I'm going to leave mine alone, and we're going to put them underneath the bow. So they're going to hang down like true tails under the bow. I want to make sure I'm covering up the green stem part of my morning glories there. and then I'm going to start just fluffing this bow around. A lot of people will tell you to use like an odd number in the bow loops, so you would want to make like 5, or I guess 3 or 5 or whatever. I've had people tell me that, but y'all, please understand that I'm self-taught, and I'm not a professional. So when you come to my channel, if you expect professional, if you expect silence, you probably need to just skip along to another channel, because yes, I am verbose. Thank you for the troll for giving me that comment. That was very kind of you, like I didn't already know that. And yeah, so you're going to hear talking because it's an instructional channel, and I'm here to teach you, right? That's right. And we love to chat, don't we, ladies and gents? We love to chat. The people who are here for the reason, for support and encouragement, we like to chat. Now just go ahead and cut those bows, fill them up however you like. You can do dovetails, you can do slants, whatever you would like, until it is perfectly your own. And then here we are with the beautiful bow. Now, doesn't that bow just really set off the colors in that wreath? That is such a happy wreath, and when I look at it, it just makes me smile. The colors are so bright and cheery and perfect for spring and summer, I think. And I hope you like it too. I just want to take the time to say thank you to my channel members. Y'all mean so much to me, and you're the most patient group of people I've ever seen. Yellow and blue floral is the next one. So here we go with that pure gold and also the brush gold. I'm going to use a sponge brush. And then this came from Dollar Tree, little candle holder. It's already gold, but I don't want the metallic part. Then I'm going to grab some more of those extra morning glories, and then some of these beautiful yellow flowers that I had. And they're just thrifted. Pulled them out of something else. So first we're going to use the pure gold, and we're going to pounce it up and down on here. This is going to give it sort of the same effect that we had on the frame. But since this is not a wood surface, this is a shiny surface, I am not going to use a brush because I don't want brush marks to show. I'm just going to use this. All right, y'all, please, can y'all help me? If you're here from another channel, or if you're here because you don't even know how I popped up on your screen, if you enjoy what's going on in this channel, would you please consider subscribing? Because subscribing is going to help me get to 100,000 subscribers. We're already at like 72. And by Halloween or the 31st of October, whichever way you want to look at it, I would love to be at 100,000 because I can qualify for a silver play button. And I just really, yes, it's selfish reasons. It's like asking for a promotion at your job, right? You work hard. You work hard. It says something to you when you are getting a promotion at your job. Well, this is like a promotion kind of thing for me. It just is something that I'm working for. So if you would like to help support me, it would mean the world to me. We're going to let it dry in between layers, and I'm going to put that other darker gold on top. I'm going to grab a little bit of Sculpey clay. You can use whatever type of like a modeling clay that you have. Probably not air dry because it's going to puff up, and we don't want that. I'm going to put some glue in the bottom of here, and then I'm going to take that little plug that I've made with that Sculpey clay, and I'm going to press it right down into that glue. This is going to give me an area to hold my florals because foam would likely melt or fall out. This is going to work. All right, so now I'm going to stand this beside it and see what size I want it to be. I don't want it to be so heavy on the top that it will fall over. We want it to be balanced and everything to stay in place. So I'm going to take my flowers, and they're on wires, and just kind of give them a little fluff. And I'm going to do this like in a triangle situation. So I have 3 of these, and I'm going to do one kind of toward the back, and then 2, so like I put one in at the point or the tip of the triangle, right? So now we're in the bottom corner, and then I'm going to grab another one and go in the other bottom corner. So that gives you like 3 points, right? That's how I wanted mine to look. You can cut these at different lengths. You can leave them the same length. I cut 2 of those a little bit shorter than the other one. So we have a little bit of varied height. Remember, the more variation that you give, the more interest it gives to the eye. So the longer you look at it and admire it and love it, right? And it just looks right in nature. Everything doesn't grow exactly the same height, right? All right, so I'll take some of the greenery that we already pulled off or plucked off of the other pieces and just go around the bottom and have a little plug there. This is just a little piece of moss. a faux moss that came out of a mat of moss that I have. And I'm just going to use that to go around here, but you can just use some moss that you get from Dollar Tree, certainly. Then I'll pull these off. They still have the little cup end that holds onto the wire, you know, where it attaches. So I'm just going to take advantage to that here and there. You'll see me use that to actually stick to the branches that are all the way up there. If not, you can attach with a little bit of glue or wiring the flower heads right down onto your other flower stems. So see, I pulled one off, and then we're going to take that little section, push it right down on the same little stem where that piece of greenery was with a little hot glue so it doesn't fall. Now, how cute is this? One more, and this little piece actually looks like it is either just closing or just opening. I'm going to add that right here to the bottom. And you can certainly go all the way down and have some down on the bottom of your candle holder if you would like, which is now like a, I don't know, we're using it sort of like a stand, right? It's going to match perfectly with that beautiful print that we have. Very simple, right? So here is that pretty little flyaway French country arrangement that we did. This almost looks like some sort of a vessel now, like possibly a vase or a little pot. It's just a different way to use something that we all usually have, right? We all get the little candle holders from Dollar Tree. Think of all the ways that you can use them. Think of all the options you have with those. And you can paint it if you don't like the color, right? I know you can do it. The next is going to be a decorative plate. I have this beautiful hummingbird that I've had for quite some time now that I thrifted. She looks kind of brass. We're going to fix her up. These two pieces that I thrifted, they're actually magnet on the back. Isn't that something? They're like a porcelain. Antiquing wax, of course. You know, and me and my wax. This little sign from Dollar Tree. And this little plate that I thrifted. But you can certainly get like little charger plates at Dollar Tree. Now we're going to pick a little section on here that we want to highlight on that plate. You could use this section, or we could just use a tree. So many options. And I'm still working from that one piece of fabric, y'all. I'll pull the hanger off the back because that's not something we need. You can save it for another project if you want to, but you don't have to. Yeah, the tree is going to fit nicely under there. So I'm just going to roughly cut out a little square. I got a little too close right there, so be careful that you leave enough room to go over it. Then I'm going to take that sticker off. Oh, yuck, my coffee has gotten cold. Blech. All right, so I'm going to take the tag off. And look, we're going to save this little part that says family. You can save this for another project. You got to get something that will get under there and keep it nice, flat, and low so that you don't bend or break the piece. I have broken these before, but this little cheese knife that I use as a tool, that's right. We're really thinking outside of the box with the cheese knife. It works great. And I'm just going to take this off so I can save it for another project. Because a family little piece like this would be great for Thanksgiving, right? And for fall, yes. I'm going to save it. And I just wanted to share it with you so you can see that you can save your pieces too. Then you get 2 for 1. Then you just peel off your paper and clean it up and you can use it for another project. Yes. And they spray paint very easily, y'all. I've definitely done that on other projects. So I like the tree being on there. See the difference between the white background and the brown? So we're going to go ahead, because I want that to be nice and bright white, I'm just going to take some matte white paint. It's not even chalk paint. And I'm just going to put it all over this sign to bring the lightness back to it. So when we add that beautiful fabric to it, you won't see all the darkness. You'll see that light shining through there. Y'all know I do all kinds of decor on this channel. We got some light, bright stuff, and we got some moody stuff. And by the way, when I say dark and moody, I don't mean dark as in negative and yucky and all the other words that I won't say because this is a happy video. I don't mean anything like that. Dark just isn't dark, like shadows. And, you know, God made light. He made dark too, right? He made beautiful trees and he made the shade under them. You get what I'm saying here? He made flowers and he made mushrooms. He made birds and frogs. So, y'all know my heart on this channel, right? You know my heart. Okay. So I'm just using a little heat on there to kind of heat that wax up and make it stick a little bit better, kind of dry it. But before it's completely dry, I'm going to take this little baby washcloth that I thrifted. It works great for these. And I'm going to wipe away some of it. I want this really to look like it is old, very aged. By putting the wax on there, it goes down into the depressed areas or the lower areas, and it clings to that. Do you see the difference that makes? I think that's lovely. But you don't have to do that on your pieces, y'all. You don't have to. So once I get the right place, protect your fingers, of course, I'm going to flip it over, still holding the fabric in place so that I don't lose my placement. And I'll start putting this, just gluing it to the back. Really no special way to do it. You can see here that I've cut it too short on one side. We're going to make it work. We are going to make it. I was going to make that work if I had to find some way to trim it out with some ribbon or something. But I managed. I got it. Now I work across from the piece that I'm working on. So it's a circle, so there's no sides on a circle, but right above it in that section next, because I want to be sure that I don't distort print that's on the front. And I hope that makes sense to y'all. Look, this just went to the edge and I just smeared glue on it so it would go down. I'm telling you, I was determined to make this project work. But y'all do better. Leave more room around the outside, okay? These are thicker than the little wood rounds, so leave more room around the edges. I'm just trimming some of the bulkiness off of it, no big deal. But now, look how bright and pretty that is. I love that tree on there. I'm going to find the position that I want to use, because this will be in a plate stand. I want that flat section to be on the bottom. Now I'll lay the round on there. That is crooked as heck. I'm going to turn it until I get it in the position that I like. Now there's a lip. So we're going to have to do this so that it will sit down in there and have something to glue to, right? So these pieces of wood are a little bit thicker. They're like a building block that came from, they came originally from Target. And I'm just using those to kind of fill in the little space. I'm cutting some mounting tape or you could hot glue it perhaps, but this mounting tape works really, really well. It is very strong. And so again, options. If you have some of this tape and maybe you don't own a glue gun, right? You can definitely use something like this. It works well. And I'm going to stick it down in 4 different areas. I hope I make sense what I'm saying today, y'all. I hope I am. I'm really trying. Can y'all give me a thumbs up? I'm trying, y'all. So then I'm going to add some of the same tape on the other side of the block so that we have an area to rest the round on. And I'm just trying to make sure it's kind of centered. And then I'm going to press it down. All right. If there is a gap, because mine was a little bit tall, then just run like a string bead around it if you want. You can use some jute around it if you want. You can use matching ribbon or twine, whatever, if that bothers you. All right, so these are little magnets. Isn't that weird? They're like a little magnet. But we're going to use them for something else because that's what we do on this channel. One is a little taller than the other. So this one I just glued down is taller than this one. I love that because I can scoot this one right under and look at the different depth that gives it. There's a chipped section on there, so I'm going to hide it by the rose. And then I'll start adding a little bit of glue on the bird. Now you can certainly use, if you're using something that's hollow on the back, put a block in there, put something in there to help hoist it up if you need to. But it is plastic. It is so lightweight that the Gorilla Glue that I'm using should be all we need to hold this little baby in place. And it looks like he is going to have a sip from the flowers. Just using my little weeding tool here to get the bubble of glue off. Now, if you want to use this to hang, then you just make a hanger for the back of it, but I'm not going to do that. This would be perfect in a plate stand, just like this. Hope y'all like this piece. Do you like this piece? I want y'all to remember at the almost 30-minute mark that November is Subscriber Appreciation Month. So you better be subscribed because we're going to have lots of goodies to come. That's right. It's so much fun, y'all. French-inspired tags is going to be the next thing we use. So I have got some burlap here. This is like a 9 or 10 inch. We're going to measure it. There we go. 9 inch. Got a scrap of a satin ribbon that is white. A little loop here, a little circle of wood. A little frame from Dollar Tree. Some more of that fabric. And 2 of these tags that I'm recycling from Dollar Tree. Now, Dollar Tree actually has these signs and they're in different sizes. I did not know that until I started stripping my signs down to recycle them, that there are actually signs that are a little bit bigger than other ones. So be watching. They try and be sneaky with us, y'all. They try and be sneaky. All right, now I'm going to pick my scene. I love the idea of this lady looking downward. We're going to do something special with that. A little extra thought process here. I'm going to trim it down a little bit so we can wrap it around the tag. Make sure that white is not showing. I'm going to hold it in place and flip it over. Whoops, you scooted just a little, but I'm gonna fix it. And then we'll do the glue like we did before, but the before I believe I protected my fingers and I'm not being a good example for you now. But yeah, protect your fingers, y'all. All right, and then we're just going to continue all the way around. Whatever technique you like to use to cover your pieces, you can certainly do. I do some different things, just depends on how the mood hits me. And honestly, when I'm crafting, sometimes I don't, this is going to sound terrible, sometimes I don't know what I'm doing. I kind of get lost in the end result, and things just start moving really fast for me, and I can't keep up with what I'm doing. You know how it is when you get it, when you feel like you're in the spirit and you just keep going. That's kind of how it was. So now once it's completely full, I'm going to use my finger to feel where that hole is on the top because we will be utilizing that. I'm going to use some little sharp scissors here to just stick in here. You can use an awl, you can use whatever you have, just make a little hole in there. You could use a pin if you wanted. And I'll cut a little X in it as well so it will press down. We don't want to lose where that's at, right? So this is just a pencil, and I'm just going to push it down in there and twist it. Now I can really see it. So that's perfect. That'll be great when we get ready to use it. So I've got some beautiful, beautiful blue. This is a true navy, I do believe. And I'm going to paint the other side with this. I'm doing that because the burlap that we're using is a dark blue, and I do not want to see brown and white underneath my rich, beautiful blue. I'm also going to paint that little round wood piece with that blue and set those aside to dry. Now here's that frame. It's got kind of gaps in there, and which is fine, that's how frames look, but I wanted to kind of close those little gaps off a little bit, make it look a little less obvious and make it look like a molded piece, right? So I'm going to try to cover up and press that in there in those little cracks, and then I'm just going to scrape off like the little excess. The way we paint this, you're not going to notice if you make a little bit of a mess on here, okay? So don't be too hard on yourself if you make a mess, like I was being when I did it. You don't want to do that. Now we're going to take a little bit of chalk paint. Now, I'm using the white chalk paint because I thought, all right, if I put this on thickly and let it dry, that's going to help disguise any cracks that are in there. And y'all, it does work. It does help, just like some of the other reasons we use chalk paint on pieces that are not perfect, because they help disguise things. All right, so I'm going to let that dry. Of course, we want to do the entire thing. I think that's what I'm trying to show you here. Do the whole thing, all the sides, all the areas that you're going to be able to see, right? And we're going to let it dry between the layers. This just makes it dry a lot quicker. And chalk paint, really, I mean, even when somebody says we had to use 2 layers, it's not that big of a deal, y'all. It dries so fast, and the chalk paint goes a long way. Some bottles of chalk paint I have had for years. I just add a little water when it starts getting thick and just keep on going. All right, so now I'm going to use my little pouncer here and pounce another coat all over the top of it. And you can see the difference from the right and the left, the brush marks and the little pounce marks. See the difference? Then we're going to let that dry. We're really building this up. We're really making this a little more high end. Now, for some reason, my camera decided to eat the footage, so I'm going to show you what we did. See this technique that we have here? We're going to do this on this backing, which I painted white. I have a foam brush, which I have picked and torn pieces off of. So there are some pieces that stick out more, some that stick out less. We're going to do that technique on that whole thing. And we're going to kind of dry brush it along the edges. Then I'm going to do the little round as well. Okay? I'm so sorry, y'all. I wish you could have seen that, but if you've seen me paint frames and things before, you know how we did it, right? You know how to dry brush, you know how to go around all the edges. Y'all can do this now. I'm going to take that dried tag and lay it down on the burlap and get that thing in place. You see how we have plenty of room all the way around with our burlap to glue it down. Protecting your fingers definitely now, because burlap is an open weave. And if you use burlap and you don't protect your fingers, you will lose a fingerprint. Not really, but you know what I mean. You will hurt yourself because you have to heat glue to make it liquid, right? You don't want to do that on our fingers. We'll go all the way around just like we did before, and then we're going to poke a hole just like we did before. I'm just using my beautiful little gifted scissors here, my little multi-purpose scissors. Okay, perfect. I love the blue, and look how beautiful the blue looks. Yes, it's a very dark blue, but there's very dark blue around all the edges of that print on that yellow. So it's going to work perfect. All right, I'm going to grab some hot glue and put around that hole on the top. The hole is actually smaller than the hole that is in this wood piece, which I knew that it would be. Press it down. We're going to let that dry. Once it's dry, I'll grab some more of that same dark blue paint and take a brush and go all the way over that hot glue that's on the inside. Now you won't see the hot glue, you won't see the hole, and it'll be perfect. Now, we are going to put a frame on the other side, and we're going to decide, look at that little puppy. She would have been perfect, but it's too small. That would have been perfect. Oh. Then we could use flowers, we could use the little guys who are fishing, or we can just use some of this on the bottom. So I decided to use this greenery that's on the bottom. It's the beauty of toile, right? So many different little sceneries, so many options. If you can get 1 yard of this fabric, imagine all the pieces you could make with it. It's just amazing. It's such a beautiful, beautiful idea, I think, having all this on one piece. And a really good savings, I think. I'm so lucky to find things like this at the thrift store, and I'll just say that I'm blessed to find things like this at the thrift store, because I know a lot of people don't have access. But y'all check out garage sales, check out yard sales, church sales, places like that if you can't find things at a thrift store. You know? Offer to help clean out somebody's closet or their attic, you know? Somebody may have something like this that they don't use, or maybe they've forgotten they had. You don't ever know where you're going to find a blessing, right? Okay, so now I'm just going to use my glue stick, and I'm going to use my little squeegee and press it all out on the edges. I'll trim this down. I'm not going to go all the way to the edge of the paper, not necessary. It's going to help stay in place if I leave just a hair on the side, right? So when I push it in there, it's a little bit thicker. Everything's going to be snug and in place. Just press it down with my fingers into all of the corners. And then you can certainly glue it in place if you need to. But it's very strongly held in there, so I'm not even going to bother. Now I went around the whole bottom and sort of leveled it out with my glue so that I would have a strong hold on my piece of fabric there. And then I'll just, after it's cooled and it's solid, I'll add a little more glue and then place it down in the corner. Now it looks like the lady is gazing at that beautiful frame over there. It's just different, right? It's just different. You remember that song where there was a lyric in there that said things that make you go, It's kind of one of those things that make you go, Cindy, I know you know what I'm talking about. I know you do. All right, so we're going to push this down in there. I'm just using a little sand and stick here to feed it through there because it's thicker, right? So I couldn't do that by hand, not likely. And I'm going to make a hanger for this. I'm going to tie it first in place to look like it is stuck together by being tied, even though it is not. We're going to make it look like that's how it's attached. All right. Then I'm going to hold it in place but lift it. So it's exactly where I want it to be positioned, okay? I know exactly where it needs to be glued down. And then I'll only put my glue in that area. I'm going to press it down and hold it in place. Once it is set up, I can continue with my tag. I'm going to go up here and just make a knot. Very easy to do, y'all. However long you want this to be, that's where you want to put your knot. Then I'm just going to cut it at a slant and use a piece of the ribbon that we had left to make a beautiful little bow. Very pretty little satin ribbon. I had to use this, y'all. It's so pretty. I'm going to cut this off at a slant. And then you can put it anywhere you want on your piece, but I think I'll put it right here. Very delicate and pretty, I think. I hope y'all like this one. It's a little different, but we like to use these tags from Dollar Tree, and if you don't like the prints on them, they still, the hardware, the backing is such a good option to use in your pieces. These are 5 projects that I feel confident y'all can do. Find your pieces. Maybe you could get a stamp. Maybe you could use some rub-on transfers if you don't have the fabric. How many different ways do you think that you could do something similar to this? Check out the rectangle right here. I thank you for coming by, and I'll see you soon. Bye.